Welcome back. This is Cooper once again with FedRetirementPlanning.com. And the topic for today is one that I've gotten questions on, and kind of just there's a lot of sentiment and a lot of, worry going on about what's going to happen specifically for federal employees now that Donald Trump is president, or currently president-elect. So I'm going to talk about what it's going to look like for federal employees in the workplace a little bit, and then talk quite a bit on how the TSP, the Thrift Savings Plan, could be affected by Donald Trump and kind of some sectors to look for going forward in a Donald Trump presidency. So Donald Trump is now the president, or the president-to-be of the United States. Whether you voted for him, whether you like him or not, that's the result of the election, and that's something that you have to deal with, and I have to deal with, everybody has to deal with going forward. Now, one of the big things for you current federal employees, that could be possible is job cuts, okay? Donald Trump has talked about how he is going to get rid of waste within the federal government, get rid of waste for federal employees, things like that. So that could mean cuts for you. Actually, Donald Trump has come out and said, we will cut so much it will make your head spin. And those are things that you could watch out for as a federal employee if you aren't doing your job correctly, or if you're in basically a position that Donald Trump could view as not worthy of having a job, or just is considered waste. He actually went on to say at the National Republican Convention that within his first 100 days, he was going to have a list of the agencies in the different parts of government that would be considered waste for him to eliminate. Now, with that being said, Donald Trump is very different from other Republican presidents to be. He's not necessarily in favor of a totally smaller government. In fact, actually his plans are much different than other Republican Party members who, basically want as small a government as possible. Trump has said that he wants to preserve Social Security, so there shouldn't be any worries about that. Also, if you're in the military or would like to be in the military, Donald Trump has talked about increasing military spending, so increasing on defense. So going forward, Donald Trump, as far as making the government smaller and cutting a lot of things, he may cut in some areas, but he'll probably grow in other areas. So government spending for military is expected to increase. Hillary Clinton had a plan for, I think it was a spending budget of $275 million or so, and Donald Trump's plan actually more than doubles that. So that's something to look out going forward. So moving on from that topic, which isn't necessarily my expertise or anything like that, it's just something I want to provide my opinion on. However, when talking about the Thrift Savings Plan, that's something that I feel I have some knowledge on and I can speak to. And I'm going to speak specifically on what you should do for the Thrift Savings Plan coming forward with Donald Trump becoming president. Now, one thing that you shouldn't do now that Donald Trump has become president is change everything you're doing, okay? I have many people that email me and ask, Donald Trump's going to be president. What should I do? What should I change? Or if something in the market happens, say when Brexit happened, Britain left the European Union, what should I do with my TSP going forward? These are all great questions for people who I think are trading based on news. However, for the majority of TSP investors, I don't think you should necessarily trade on market news, okay? There's people who, spend their lives trying to understand those trading concepts and things like that, who don't even come close to being able to beat the S&P 500 in a passive investing strategy. So my suggestion would first be able to create an investment strategy for you based on your risk tolerance, and then going forward, invest based upon that. I have a few stats here that basically just summarize what has happened over past elections after an election season. So what has happened in the market after an election season over the past few years? The first one is the market on average rises an average of 6% in the first year of any presidential term, and an average of around 7% for all years. The second one, the last 7 months of the president's last year in office have been positive in all but 2 years since 1952. And the final one, the party that controls office has in reality been insignificant to the returns that have been gained. So whether it's been a Republican in office or whether it's been a Democrat in office, it hasn't really changed what's happened in the market, okay, overall. So, you hear people say, well, Republicans are better for business because they want to see business grow and things like that. That may be true. However, as far as the market goes, it hasn't been shown like a significant difference from those Democratic presidents that had been in office. Now, many of you are probably wondering, what are some sectors that I should be watching out for now that Donald Trump is president? So let's say you're investing according to your risk tolerance and you're things like that, but you still want to see what else is going to be positive for the upcoming year and the upcoming 4 years possibly. So there's 3 sectors specifically that I think should be looked at. And the first one is pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals is one that should be looked at not just because Donald Trump is president, but more because Hillary Clinton isn't president. Hillary Clinton had a lot of regulations coming out that basically would limit pharmaceutical companies from price gouging, so increasing their prices simply to make a profit on drugs that really people need, like cancer drugs and things like that. Companies have, increased their price beyond what should have been increased or whatever, simply because they make more money. Now, that being said, could pharmaceutical companies do great in the future? We'll see, but I'd say that's a sector to watch out for. The next sector I would look at would be energy. So energy companies, okay? Because Donald Trump has said, and I actually put this in an article that I wrote, Trump has proposed an energy revolution that would lift restrictions on shale production and open up oil and gas production on federally protected lands as well as offshore. So there's a lot of pundits and people that are saying, energy could definitely be a sector to watch out for. And the C Fund is actually comprised 7% of energy companies. Okay, so if you're going to be investing and you're basically have a bullish sentiment on energy, bullish means that you expect the market to increase, then the C Fund is definitely a fund to look at. And then the final sector to watch out for, in my opinion, would be the defensive sector. Donald Trump has talked largely, as I said previously, about increasing government spending on the military, increasing our defense, building the wall for the border and things like that. So I would definitely look at the defense sector and looking and seeing, what your opinion on that sector is. So doing your own research and finding things out. But that's definitely a sector that people are expecting to do well under a Donald Trump presidency. Now, this has been Cooper with FedRetirementPlanning.com. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Let me know any questions that you have in the comments. Feel free to share and like this video. The more federal employees that watch these videos, the better off it is. I'm providing a lot of free education for you guys, and I greatly appreciate hearing your questions and encouraging words and just seeing the amount of people that we're able to help here. This is great. But I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time.